G'day folks, Ben from Snowies. Today I'm here showing you how to set up and pack away this Black Wolf Classic Dome 2.
Hit it.
As the name suggests, this is a classic dome style tent. It's got an easy pitch 3-pole design and is set up with just a handful of pegs. Before we dive into this product, there is loads more content like this on our YouTube channel, so make sure you like and subscribe and you'll get notified of all of our latest content. Now let's jump in. So this is the Classic Dome 2 packed up in its bag here. Black Wolf have got a range of these classic domes, really good value as the name suggests, just a classic, good quality, really versatile dome tent. This weighs about 4 kilos, measures about 50 centimeters in length, and is about 18 centimeters by 18 centimeters for the bag that you get. This is new in the bag here now, so it's packed up much tighter than it will be when I pack it away afterwards, but you can see you've got a well oversized bag to fit it inside. We'll start by showing you what comes in the kits. So inside your bag, there are some pitching instructions, get a bit of warranty information as well, and a strap to tie it all together when it's packed away. So we'll put them aside so we don't lose them. Get a bag of pegs. Now they're small pegs, is what you'd expect with a tent like this. They're pretty good for their size. If you are using it in really sandy conditions, soft ground, or really rough weather, you might be worthwhile investing in some larger specific pegs for the conditions that you're using it in. Put the pegs aside for now. The poles, now there's 3 different pole sections in here. There's 2 in this bundle here, which create the dome, and then this one here creates the cross section to give us more upright walls and more room inside the tent. First thing we want to do is spread out this is the inner, so the base and the inner tent. We spread this out and peg out all 4 corners. So we'll grab our poles now. The thicker, shorter or smaller section here we'll leave aside till last. That's our ridge pole. And then we've got these 2 sections here. So we've got to put these together bit by bit. Now don't just flick them together, put them together gently. If you flick them, you risk damaging it. So put them together and make sure the ferrules are seated right inside each other. They're all joined together by an elastic in between. So we put 2 of those together, and these are going to create the cross section over the tent. So we lay one across this way, one across the other way. Now in each corner we've got these pins here, so there's one on all 4 corners. These go inside the ferrule here, so I'm going to place this pole like this. Now this is where having 2 people can be handy, because one person can hold this end while the other person puts the other end in. I'm going to do this by myself. Just means I need to maintain some pressure on this side of the tent. So I'll go around the other side and bend the pole up. So as I do this, I just kind of want to keep a bit of tension on these poles to try and stop them from popping off on the corners. So I'm just holding the second pole with one hand as I bend the other one into place. And it's now standing up into place. So probably the easiest thing now is to come to the center of the tent. So if we just open the door and step inside the middle and find the center point, which is where all of the stitching comes into one spot. So I've got all the stitches running to one spot here. And I'm just going to hook that up over the top there for now to hold one pole in place. And then we've got these clips that run down all the sides here, and they just clip over the top of the poles. If we do the top 4 first, so one on each pole, one here, one here, one on this side, and one last one here. So I'm going to try and peg it around as evenly as I can. If you peg one side, these poles tend to bend and it stresses one side more than the other. Try and keep a nice even bend with the poles with any dome tent that you set up. So I'll go around and peg all of these. I'll try and go around evenly so that these poles maintain a nice even bend over the top of the tent. That's the main cross poles in place. Now you can see we've got some loose fabric here, and that's where this second pole comes into play. So it's a slightly thicker pole, this one here, 4 sections to it. It goes together in the same manner though, so it's got elastic in between. Put them together so that they seat nice and firmly in each, and on the end of each of these is a tapered ferrule. And that ferrule lines up or fits into the brass eyelet in these tabs which feature on each side. So I slide this into here, and what I now need to do is walk around the other side. Once again, if I've got a second person helping me, it would be easier, but it's perfectly manageable with one. I just keep some pressure on that side of the tent there, come around to the other side and grab this other eyelet and put that over the other end of the pole here. There's now 2 clips plus one we've already used across the middle here. So I'm going to put this one in place, and then on the other side, there is a second clip. And then that center clip that we initially used just to hold those center poles in place is actually a larger clip, and we'll go over this pole as well. So I'm actually going to clip that over this pole too, and that stops it from sliding down here. It just clips nice and securely over that ridge pole. And that is our inner tent all set up. You can see now the nice upright sides that this cross section creates. So it's a dome tent with more upright walls, so 2 person, but heaps of room inside. Next step is to put the fly on. So we want to orient the fly the right way around. Now there's a zip on each side, or a doorway on each side of the fly. Well, not a doorway, but there is a zip on each side of the fly. But there's main doorways that need to line up with the teardrop doorways here. So to know which sides line up with the doorways, there's a Black Wolf logo on each side of the tent. There, and another one here. Now these logos go on the door side, so I know that this zipper here is a door, and same on the other side. So I'm going to throw this over the tents. So the logo is on that side. This logo is on this side. I'm just going to go around and straighten it up, make sure it all looks right, and then we can attach it to the tent. So I've got the fly sheet oriented pretty much correctly now. Not attached to the tent yet though, so to attach it there are Velcro tabs underneath. So if I just fold this back up this way, we can see there is a Velcro tab here. This one goes around this cross pole here. And then on each leg, or each upright, there's also another tab. So I've got one here that goes around this pole here. And I do the same thing, just the one tab on each of these sections for the tent. And then we go around to the corners of each. There's a little plastic hook here, which just goes over the metal ring at the base there. So that is the tent almost set up. The only two pegs we need now for minimum setup is to put a peg in the vestibule. There's one of these that feature on each side. So I'll put a peg in here. So the only other thing we should set up, ideally all the time, particularly if it's bad weather, but if it's really calm weather, you don't need to worry about, and that's these 4 guy ropes. One on each corner here. They're stored away in their own little pocket. So tuck it away in there and it stays out of the way while you're trying to pack the tent up, doesn't end up getting tangled up. But if you peg them out, one on each corner, then you end up with a really, really sturdy shelter, even in the windiest conditions. And that's the whole tent set up. The only other considerations you might want to make are whether you want to open and close any of the doors on the ends here to allow for ventilation, but we've got a features video where we cover off on all of those options, so check that out if you're interested. To pack this up is almost as easy as setting it up, if not easier. I can do it all by myself. It was easier to set up by myself, easier to pack up by myself. First thing I'm going to do, take the pegs out of the fly and unclip the fly and remove it from the inner. So folding the fly can be a little bit tricky because it's 3-dimensional. What I like to do is find a center point. So these are the 2 ridges, and the wind's breeze is slowly blowing that way. So if I pull it off and into the breeze, it kind of lies pretty flat as you walk backwards off the tent. And it makes it easy to fold the fly pretty square by now. So I just straighten this out a little bit and fold the sides in until you get a bit of a rectangle, and then fold it so it's at roughly the same width as the storage bag. So I'll leave my fly sheet there. Next thing I'm going to do is take the poles out from here. So the first one we want to take off is the last one we put on. So this ridge pole across here. So we've got those 3 clips to remove, and then take the eyelets or the ferrules out of the eyelets here. Remove the top pole, we'll collapse that one up, and then we'll go around and remove these poles as well, keeping in mind that we won't remove all sides at the same time, trying not to let this frame sort of bend one way or the other. So I might leave these top 4 done up, just go around the sides here and unclip these bottom 2 for now, and then I'll walk back into the middle to the door here and unclip the last 4. So if I now come to the center here, I'm just going to hold the 2 poles here, unclip the last 4. So the center, or the inner tent, is now completely separate from the poles, and I can now just lay these down, lay one of them down, and then come to the other corner and remove them. And as I pack them up, I can fold these up like this, ready to go back in the bag. So I'll just get my bag and everything ready at this end here. Next thing I'm going to do is pull the pegs out. So we just got a peg in each corner here, 4 of them, and then I'm going to fold the tent in so it's roughly the same width as the bag here, put the fly sheet on top, roll it up and put it back in the bag. That is how to set up and pack away the Black Wolf Classic Dome 2. Easily done by myself, even easier done with 2 people. I reckon this is an awesomely affordable tent that's going to keep you dry, get you a good shelter for any lightweight camping trip. Check them out online at snowies.com.au.